the Morning Watch with Reverend Dr. Dylan Toussaint. Today, the Morning Watch is brought to you by the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, providing opportunity, stability, and social protection. Also, we want to thank, MLSS for sponsoring today.
I've been hearing about this constitutional reform thing. You know anything about it?
Yes, constitutional reform is a chance for us to Jamaicanize the constitution.
But how?
Enough things changed since 1962 and we've matured as a nation. So modernizing the constitution will reflect our current societal values.
Oh, a constitution for Jamaicans, approved by Jamaicans.
Are you ready for the journey? Join us on the road to Republic. Think independence, think Republic. A message from the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs.
NIS pensioners, avoid the wait. Get your NIS pension straight to your bank account. It's easy. Simply visit the Ministry of Labor and Social Security's website, mlss.gov.jm, or the nearest NIS office and collect the direct deposit application form. Then complete the form and submit it along with supporting documents to the NIS office nearest you. Avoid crowds and long lines. Get your money when you want it. The National Insurance Scheme, always working for you.
Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org, and if you're overseas and on the move, U.S. listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you're in the UK, 0330-332-6541. Or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live. In the first watch today, why are there some disagreements with the Samoa Agreement? And in the second watch, buying a used car, why you may need a lawyer. For our social media question, we ask, how much do you understand by the Samoa Agreement? Would you sign it? We're asking you to share your responses on our Love 101 FM Facebook page and YouTube channel, and also on WhatsApp 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your responses later on in the program, but before all of that, here's our quote. All right, good morning, good morning. Today's I quote says, learn from everybody. And this one is from John Piper. That's it.
Short and spicy.
That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. That's it.
By the way, Joe Carl, did you feel the tremor yesterday?
No. Okay, so I was actually I have a recliner at home and it rocks. So I feel like when I was rocking it, it happened. So I missed it completely.
Yeah.
So I don't feel a thing. Did you feel it?
I was in Portmore at the time. Didn't feel a thing either.
I don't think Portmore felt it.
That's it.
I don't think Portmore felt it. Yeah.
That's it. Interesting times ahead, eh?
Yeah.
Because that was said to be an aftershock.
Oh?
Yes, one of the aftershocks with the major one we had recently.
Oh.
Interesting stuff, eh?
Days after?
Yeah,
Weeks after?
yeah.
Interesting.
The first watch will be back after this break.
small people from near and far, it's time to say thank you to Auntie Colleen for 30 plus years of keeping our children company in the afternoons. She had us all saying, whoosh, we're out of here, and gave us loads of opportunities to laugh and learn. Well, are you ready for something new? Something big? Join us Thursday, November 30, as we welcome our new host for the Small People Show and bid farewell to Auntie Colleen. This is an event you can't afford to miss, right here on the Family Station, celebrating 30 years of music, family, and love. 30 years of whoosh, we're out of here.
We come to have fun. We come to press on.
After the first year, your little one's brain continues to develop rapidly. NAN3 with its advanced formula, specially designed for children from 1 year, keeps their development on track, helps nurture their possibilities with the exclusive combination of optimized protein, HMO, probiotics, and DHA. NAN3, nurturing their possibilities. NAN3 is not a breast milk substitute. It is specially suited to children from 1 year onward.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Now, the Samoa Agreement is named after the tiny Polynesian island, with the official signing of the European Union African Caribbean Pacific Partnership Agreement took place. But the agreement has caused some big issues to be raised by several countries who were expected to sign on. Some have stoutly refused to sign, in fact. And in the case of Jamaica, we have not yet signed because of pressure from some concerned groups. In short, there are some disagreements in regards to the Samoa Agreement. So what are those disagreements all about? And are they justified? Well, to answer these and other related questions, we have online the Reverend Dr. Ralston Nemard, Anglican priest, author, and columnist, as well as Miss Philippa Davies, Advocacy Officer of the Jamaica Coalition for a Healthy Society. Good morning to you both.
Good morning, Dylan, and to your viewers. And to
Good morning.
Great.
Guests.
Good to have you both with us again as we discuss this very important topic. I'll begin with you, Ms. Davies. In a nutshell, can you remind us of what the Samoa Agreement is all about and what disagreements organizations like yours have with it?
Well, thanks again for the opportunity to share with you. Good morning to all. The Samoa Agreement is the latest iteration of a historical relationship between African, Caribbean, and Pacific nations that were former colonies of certain European nations and with the European Union. And originally in the 1970s, when it began, it was to provide preferential trade access for our goods, primary goods, into the European market. Over the decades, the agreement has grown beyond or been expanded beyond trade and aid to now economic cooperation and political partnership. In fact, when you look at the listing of objectives of this new agreement and when you review scholarly articles, trade is a minor and political partnership is now a major. And with that comes challenges. And this is what we put to Foreign Affairs for the last 2.5 years. We asked them, in light of developments and changes in the international space, particularly in the EU and the United Nations, where the advocacy for abortion and LGBT ideology is quite prevalent. What have you done in terms of words that have been used by those entities to advance these ideologies to ensure that that is not going to be applied in the agreement and therefore an obligation on Jamaica? So that's basically it. We simply asked Foreign Affairs, what do these words mean? Because these are what are being misinterpreted, reinterpreted controversially by the EU and the UN to advance those ideologies, and what have you done to ensure that that's not the meaning in the agreement? And that's what we were waiting to hear from Foreign Affairs for the last 2.5 years.
2.5 years. Reverend Nemad, based on your understanding of the document, the stated disagreements, much ado about nothing, or are they justified?
Well, let me say first of all that Jamaica has been a signatory to many international treaties and agreements over the years. And not only have we been signatories to those agreements, but we have been very pivotal in charting the course for some of those agreements and the way that they have been put together. The present one, the Samoa Agreement, being a very important one in which we have been very pivotal. I remember back in the day with the ACP arrangement and so on, with Prime Minister P.J. Patterson being very central and to the deliberations that took place. But anyway, so when you look at this agreement, and I've not really seen the contours of the agreement, let me admit that, but it tends to be very broad-based in the aspirations that it has. And my concern with the specifics that are being advocated by different groups that could be included in an agreement of this kind with so many countries, that it is very hard, for any individual country to get specifics with regard to its own cultural or even political aspirations. So my immediate concern would be, how do we integrate these local specific concerns in a broad-based agreement like what we have before us? And to what extent are these specifics that we are wanting to have, to what extent can these be entrenched in a broad-based set of agreements like we have in the ACP-EU Samoa Agreement? That would be my concern.
So basically, you see validity with the concerns expressed in groups like the one that Ms. Davis represents.
Yeah, I would say that there is validity in terms of the specific concerns that are there. In terms of local groups, having a concern in terms of us signing treaties that may hold the nation to specifics and, which may be contrary to our own aspirations and customs as a people.
We're going to break, but when you say specifics, like what you're referring to, Dr.
For example, the LGBT concerns, for example, the whole matter of reproductive health for women and so on. I am not sure that the agreement embraces these in any specific form, but yet we have our local groups like the JCHS, and rightly, wanting to make sure that their voice is heard in these agreements. But to what extent can you integrate these concerns in a broad-based agreement like this?
Okay, we're up on a break, lady and the gentleman. We'll be right back.
Call me shrewd. I am getting in when the markets are attractively priced.
Call me smart. I am getting set to capitalize when the markets have increased potential. Call me savvy. I have a mix of wise investments, so I'm earning no matter the season.
They're all investing in Sagicor Investments Sigma Global Funds, like our US dollar Sigma Global Equity and Sigma Real Growth. Never settle for less than your dreams. Start investing now in Sigma Global Funds. Call 888 Sagicor to speak with a Sagicor Investments Wealth Advisor. Conditions apply.
Ooh la la. I see what I want at Osrich Christmas in November sale. November 20 to 30. Kingston, Mandeville, and Montego Bay. Come get your wires, breakers, chandeliers, flood lamps, LED bulbs, standing fans, and so much more. Shop Kingston, Mandeville, and Montego Bay. You can't afford to miss it. Come shop. Come save at Osrich Christmas in November sale. November 20 to 30. See you there at Osrich.
Jamaica Hospital Supplies has medical equipment for health at home.
We have oxygen supplies,
wheelchairs,
digital blood pressure machines,
adult diapers,
Sure Comfort diabetic supplies,
CareSense blood sugar meters,
humidifiers, incentive spirometers,
urinals, bedpans, leg bags,
CPAP supplies, body fat scales and catheters. Jamaica Hospital Supplies for all your home care needs. 66 and a half Halfway Tree Road. Call 929-2850. Visit our website for more information.
NIS pensioners, avoid the wait. Get your NIS pension straight to your bank account. It's easy. Simply visit the Ministry of Labor and Social Security's website, mlss.gov.jm, or the nearest NIS office and collect the direct deposit application form. Then complete the form and submit it along with supporting documents to the NIS office nearest you. Avoid crowds and long lines. Get your money when you want it. The National Insurance Scheme, always working for you.
Look forward for one of the most exciting gospel events in history called Lord, You Are My Shield and My Protector by Violet Salmon Records, featuring Kevin Downswell, Violet Salmon Records, Petro K, Bridget Blutcher from the USA, and the Kencott Seventh-day Adventist Church Choir. Location, Jamaica College Auditorium, 189 Old Road, Kingston 6, starting at 6 p.m. on December 2, 2023. Food and refreshments on sale. Purchase your tickets at Fontana Pharmacy, Music Mart, Supermed Pharmacy, or at www.violetsummonsrecords.com. Call 1-876-304-1906 or 1-876-304-1927. Come and be blessed.
Sebastian Braham Ministries presents Christmas Jubilee, the Old Harbor edition, Friday, December 8th at the Old Harbor New Testament Church of God. Gates open 6:30 p.m., showtime 7 p.m., featuring Petra K, Sebastian Braham, O'Shane Mays, and many more. Tickets $2,000 pre-sold, $2,500 at the gate. Children under 12, $1,000. MC yours truly, Abigail Blair Black. Ticket outlets, Benson Pharmacy, Old Harbor, Genus Pharmacy, Portmore, St. Jacob Pharmacy, Spanish Town. It's Christmas Jubilee. Be there.
Jamaica, let's spread the word around to let the world know that we are proud to be one republic. We are the right to republic. Well then, let's propel the nation moving forward in a new direction. True independence, that's the projection. No more dependency, it's the best plan. Yes, we know what's best for us, cause we want the country that's for us. So make we just pull together as the general public. While on the road to republic, Jamaica, let's spread the word around to let the world know that we are proud to be one republic. We are the road to republic.
A message from the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs.
We are the road to republic.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Now, in this, the first watch, we are asking why are there some disagreements with the Samoa Agreement? And in so doing, we have online Ms. Philippa Davies, Advocacy Officer for the Jamaica Coalition for a Healthy Society, and the Reverend Dr. Ralston Nemard, Anglican priest, author, and columnist. Before the break, I think one of the buzzwords or phrase was about specifics. Ms. Davies, what are some of the specifics that you would like to highlight that you are concerned about and asked questions about?
Right. Well, to respond to Reverend Nemard, as I have read the agreement, over 300 pages, as well as European Parliament resolutions, negotiating instructions, I can certainly say that the EU was very specific in what they wanted in the agreement. It's not hidden at all. In fact, their instruction to their negotiators in 2018 at the outset of the negotiation was to make sure that the human rights chapter in the agreement explicitly included language, which we know is freedom from discrimination on the grounds of sexual orientation or gender identity, which is LGBT, as well as sexual and reproductive health and rights as set out in the 1995 Beijing Platform of Action and the outcomes of the review conferences. Those review conferences certainly and definitively advance abortion on countries that are signatory participants and really to extend it throughout the UN system. So we're not unaware and we're not uninformed that this is the intention and the desire of the European Union. And so some of the language that causes us concern are human rights, how they define it, sexual and reproductive health and rights and services and commodities, gender, how do they define it, rule of law, good governance. I mean, the list is many. And that is why we sought clarification from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. What you understand those words to mean? What does your negotiating partner understand the words to mean? And if there is a difference or a conflict, what did you come to agreement at the negotiating table?
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, what are your thoughts on the recent decision of the Jamaican government to delay the signing of the agreement? Reverend Nemad, first.
Well, with the concerns that are being raised locally, I know that this government is very, especially the Prime Minister, is very sensitive to the views of local groups with regard to quite a number of things, and this is just one of them, which is why they're showing this particular caution at this time. And it is good for them to listen to civil society and to hear the views of the local views here with regard to these agreements. But I think there's a point at which they have to move on. And to what extent are they going to be held, and I use the word advisedly, hostage to these particular concerns when you look at the broader picture of what the agreement is calling for? That is my concern.
Held hostage by who, Dr. Nemad?
Hostage by the views of
hostage.
Yeah.
Hostage.
That's why I use the word advisedly, because there is a kind of caution that I see emerging that says, while we are listening to these groups, the important decision of signing, may be delayed and probably inordinately. And there's a point at which you have to, as a government, look at the broader picture.
So why they don't give the specifics? Why they do not therefore just answer the questions of the concerned groups?
Probably because they're working through, it's a whole diplomatic channel, and they're probably, that's the thing. Sometimes you try to satisfy too many different disparate opinions, and then you end up not making an opinion, a decision. And that happened recently with the vote, the UNGA vote on the Palestinian-Israeli issue. There's that kind of caution that, while you say you're listening, there's something else happening on the other side that you're allowing to pass you by.
Yeah, that's the need to respond quickly. But Miss Davies,
can I ask Reverend Nemad a question, please?
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you, and then you perhaps can configure all of that. I'm just asking, Miss Davies, why is your group holding the government hostage still by these questions and clarifications that you need? Why are you doing that?
That's not my choice of word. That's Reverend Nemar's choice of word. I'm not holding anybody hostage. Neither are we. We're citizens of this nation, and the obligations that my government undertakes in my name and on my behalf, they affect how I live on this space. And therefore, this is a question I will ask Reverend Nemard and you as well, Reverend Toussaint.
No, don't ask me. Ask
as an individual and a citizen, would you sign a binding 20-year contract and you don't know what the terms exactly mean? Would you, with your eyes wide open, tie yourself to obligations and you're not clear as to the scope of what you are taking on and being asked to do? Would that make sense? Would you do that, Reverend Nemard?
No, I wouldn't do that. But
so that is why I would not expect my government
but there's
to
a
sign and not
qualification to
know
my
what
answer,
the terms mean.
There's a qualification to my answer.
What is that?
And the qualification is that, so it's a matter of interpretation. Take, for example, you mentioned gender, and you say specifically that is talking about, trans concerns. Gender is just male and female. That you're not going to have any kind of discrimination against any male or female persons in these agreements. We talk about gender, and that is what I understand gender equality to be. But then now, JCHS interprets that as transgender type things. Non-discrimination and the provision of universal access to sexual and reproductive health commodities. What exactly is that?
All right, let me ask Ms. Davis to respond to that.
Right. So, Reverend Nemard, you and I accept and agree that gender is male and female, but that is not the understanding of the European Union.
But is it stated in the agreement?
Exactly, it isn't. It isn't. That's why
so these are going to be wide and broad.
There's no glossary. There is no glossary to say this is what the parties understand these words to mean. Here's the other thing, Reverend Toussaint. Money is attached to this. In fact, almost 3 billion euro is allocated to the ACP, well, the Americas, the Latin American region, because they've now split it up. Money is attached to it. And now that the money is no longer a part of the ACP-EU agreement as it was in the past, it's now solely under European Union design and regulation under a new funding mechanism called NDK. These very same words that cause us concern are now premises on which access to the money is made. And so it is very important to understand if the EU interprets these words in a certain way, does it mean in order for Jamaica to access the money, we have to accept that interpretation? Or does it mean that the projects for which we would seek the funding must include these ideas or words that the European Union holds fast to? Before, ACP might have had some degree of co-ownership and management of the release of funds, but now it is solely under EU control. And therefore, if you want the money, you need to be clear as to what you're agreeing to.
Yeah. And follow the money. But I need to ask you though, Ms. Davies, and then I throw it over to Reverend Nemard for his comments. Days ago, the Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Minister reportedly stated, and I quote, "There's nothing in the agreement that would supersede any law, any Jamaican law, or any other country's law in that document as it stands." Your thoughts on that comment, Ms. Davies, first?
Well, that's what she says. And if that is the case, then spell it out. Spell out that these words do not supersede Jamaican constitution and laws, and spell out that we're not accepting an interpretation contrary to Jamaican constitution, charter of rights, and laws. Just spell it out. It's clarity we're asking for. Just clarity.
Reverend Nemard, I think you have the final point in 1 minute.
And sometimes, that kind of clarity is not easily forthcoming. Because if they spell out what is supposed to be clarity on one clause or in one area, then you create another problem in another area, and you keep up this inordinate discussion, and you never really get anywhere. What I would say to the JCHS and other groups like that are concerned, and truly and duly concerned, I mean, I have no problem with that, is that let us see. I don't think we're going to get the specifics that we're asking for here. But what we should hold the government to is that if at any time that monies are to be allocated for projects and so on, let us see what those allocations are being tied to, and then we can make our thoughts known on that. But just say that you're going to sit back and try to get specifics in these areas, it's not going to happen.
Okay.
And the government should not allow itself to be strung up, waiting on these specifics to be, properly explained, because it's not going to happen.
Stop holding the government hostage. Thank you so very much, Reverend Nemart and Ms. Davies. Healthy discussion. Have a safe day, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Listeners, the Morning Watch will return in just a moment.
Everything possible with a little savings in your hand.
The time by Gem Bank is
7:30 and a half.
Shake and go. Shake and go. Increase the tempo. Shake and go. Don't you shut your lights down. Shake and go. Boy, football team naked. Shake and go. Try the delicious new flavors today. Shake and go.
After the first year, your little one's brain continues to develop rapidly. NAN3 with its advanced formula, specially designed for children from 1 year, keeps their development on track, helps nurture their possibilities with the exclusive combination of optimized protein, HMO, probiotics, and DHA. NAN3, nurturing their possibilities. NAN3 is not a breast milk substitute. It is specially suited to children from 1 year onward.
Christmas is togetherness. Flow is giving you their best. Christmas is special savings. That's just what Flow is bringing. Christmas is the joy of giving. Flow has just what you've been wishing. Oh, it's a celebration. Free food and earbuds for you.
Get a free Samsung phone and earbuds when you sign up for Flow Yard and Road for only $4,999 plus GCT.
Flow makes Christmas bright and blue because it's all inspired by
Visit
you.
your Flow store to sign up today. Conditions apply.
NIS pensioners, avoid the wait. Get your NIS pension straight to your bank account. It's easy. Simply visit the Ministry of Labor and Social Security's website, mlss.gov.jm, or the nearest NIS office and collect the direct deposit application form. Then complete the form and submit it along with supporting documents to the NIS office nearest you. Avoid crowds and long lines. Get your money when you want it. The National Insurance Scheme, always working for you.
Yummy full of flavor. Pineapple, coconut and ginger. Oh yeah, everybody love the yummy old type. Full of ox them. Tell them all round good vibes. Full of love style, full of well nice. New coconut flavor done right. Just like one time. Yummy full of with beer or full of with cheese. No butter pie. Yummy full of flavor. Pineapple, coconut and ginger. Everybody love the new coconut. Full of ox them. All round good vibes. Yummy full of all round good vibes.
Why suffer from heartburn, gas, upset stomach, or indigestion? Get fast, effective, long-lasting relief from Benjamin's Antacid. Benjamin's Antacid works faster than a hot cup of tea. Benjamin's, the trusted name for over a century.
I've been hearing about this constitutional reform thing. You know anything about it?
Yes, constitutional reform is a chance for us to Jamaicanize the constitution.
But how?
Enough things changed since 1962 and we've matured as a nation. So modernizing the constitution will reflect our current societal values.
Oh, a constitution for Jamaicans, approved by Jamaicans.
Are you ready for the journey? Join us on the road to Republic. Think independence, think Republic. A message from the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs.
Once upon a time, there was a girl named Kay. She loved to dance and play. One day at school, she got very ill, and Mom was left with an unbearable bill. It would be easier if Mom was prepared. With School Companion, 80% of the bill is cleared. Medical care for children is a must for as low as $2,400 per month. Make unbearable medical bills go away. Sign up for Surgical School Companion today.
May the
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's now look at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are really saying and doing in the Gleaner. Historic Jamaican diaspora body facing demise. Also in the Gleaner, Kingston projected to lose land mass to sea level rise by century end. In the Observer, the developing world needs a radical surge in climate investment, says UN experts. And in Loop News, as some of us know already, Jamaica was jolted by earthquake on Tuesday. Also in the Loop News, lottery scammers in the US linked to car dealership in Jamaica. Those are some of the major stories in our newspapers. Coming up next, we'll read some of the feedback from our social media question. How much do you understand by the Samoa Agreement? Would you sign it? Again, how much do you understand by the Samoa Agreement, and would you sign it? We're asking you to leave a comment on our Facebook page and the YouTube channel, Love 101 FM Jamaica, or WhatsApp 876-997-3125. Soon come back.
Small people from near and far. It's time to say thank you to Auntie Colleen for 30 plus years of keeping our children company in the afternoons. She had us all saying, whoosh, we're out of here, and gave us loads of opportunities to laugh and learn. Well, are you ready for something new? Something big? Join us Thursday, November 30, as we welcome our new host for the Small People Show and bid farewell to Auntie Colleen. This is an event you can't afford to miss right here on the Family Station, celebrating 30 years of music, family, and love. 30 years of whoosh, we're out of here.
We come to have fun. We come to get started.
It's a mega fantastic Christmas, and this Friday, December 1, Mega Mart has something really special for you, me, Halloween. It's the mega Christmas promotion from Mega Mart Portmore. So come, do your Christmas shopping and get tips on how to make your Christmas experience a mega fantastic one. Join me, Sarah, and the Chirpy One inside a live. And yes, we will be live on location this Friday, December 1 from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. It's the Portmore Mega Mart Christmas Special, Lot A-E Bridgeport, Portmore. Lots of giveaways, discounted Christmas trees, and plenty more niceness. Mega much at Mega Mart Portmore. It's this Friday on the Family Station, Love 101.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's now join Jokal for a look at how our Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp friends answered today's question. How much do you understand by the Samoa Agreement? Would you sign it? Jokal?
All right, so I do have some responses here. I'm going to take them from WhatsApp this time. Sherry from Spanish Town says, as long as the agreement will benefit the country in a positive way and not detrimental to our country, the culture, and citizens, then I believe she's actually saying yes. Let's go to Monica. Monica says, with elections nigh, government is buying time, testing the direction and intensity of public opinion and sentiment. They must remember they are servants of the people of Jamaica, not the EU. We must know who we are. Who else? Let's see this one. Not seeing a name here. Okay, Kim. Kim says, thanks for this topic. I did not know much of it before. I believe all agreements must include explicit terms so that signers know what they are agreeing to. Unless terms are clearly defined, we should wait to sign. This person, Sister Ennis, says if it's infringing upon our rights, no. The government should take a stance like the other nations that refuse to sign and seek the aid elsewhere. So yeah,
a mouthful there, Joker.
A mouthful.
Yeah, thanks to those who responded. We appreciate it. As we now segue into the second watch, according to media reports, Attorney at Law Gavin Goff recently stated that he believes, and I quote, lawyers may have to come into play to ensure vehicles being purchased do not have unpaid tickets attached to them, and therefore cannot be licensed by their new owners, especially if the tickets are with the courts. End of quote. Now, what does this all mean? And why would this be an issue? And how would this impact potential sellers and buyers of motor vehicles? Well, to discuss this and other related matters, I think we have both guests now. Mr. Andrew Jackson, CEO of JetCon Corporation, and Mr. Anthony Williams, attorney at law. Good morning to you both.
Good morning. Good morning.
Great.
Yeah,
good to have
morning.
you both with us. Yeah, right. Now, gentlemen, what are your opening thoughts on the aforementioned statement by attorney at law Gavin Goff, as reported in the Gleaner recently? Beginning with you, Mr. Jackson.
Okay, good morning again. This certainly, if it were to be effected, would have a serious impact on car sales generally, not just used cars, but new cars as well. You know, bear in mind that persons tend to sell their older cars to buy newer cars, right? And so it would have a ripple effect through the entire industry. You know, the cost of you know, legal fees involved in all of this would add significant cost to the seller, you know, to clear the vehicle. But it seems to me that something like this ought to be done in a fairly simple way. You know, when for example one is buying a car or one is transferring their vehicle, they have to ensure that the lien that the bank has against the vehicle is cleared, right? And it seems to me that something similar to that ought to be in place to ensure that the tickets on the cars are cleared before the original owner is allowed to do his transfer.
Okay.
It sounds like a good time to get him to pay those tickets.
Yeah. Let me bring in Mr. Anthony Williams before the break. Mr. Williams, your opening thoughts on the aforementioned statement by the attorney at law.
Yes, it is absolutely important that buyers, well, there's a Latin phrase called caveat emptor. Caveat emptor, and it means let the buyer be aware. And so what it simply means is that buyers who are going to purchase motor vehicles and just about any other item, but let us deal with the motor vehicles. You can't just go and just simply buy a motor vehicle just like that. You have to ensure that certain legalities are in place. You want to ensure that the motor vehicle is not an illegal good. It is not.
Okay, tell you what, Mr. Williams, we're up on a break, so hold that thought, and we'll be right back.
13 for the chef and the beginner. Follow the pan with pepper, that are the winner. Shop and supermarkets, everybody selling.
Sardines, follow the better flavor.
The time is 7:45 a.m.
JPS said you fi stay current. That's right. Update your cell phone number and email address with JPS and stay in the know on important details like account and system upgrades, emergency and maintenance notifications, usage and promotional info, and so much more. Use the My JPS mobile app, DM them online, or call to update your info today. And whatever you do, stay current. JPS takes the security of your data very seriously. Visit the JPS website at www.jpsco.com for more information. JPS, powering what matters.
In life, the more you have to lose.
The more you love, the more you worry. The more you own, the less you sleep.
The more people rely on you, the more you have on your mind.
I have peace of mind,
knowing that whatever I own
and whoever I care about are covered by the very best.
With Sagicor Life and Advantage General, get life, health, and general insurance to help you protect what matters most.
Jamaica and its workforce are advancing quickly. Life-changing opportunities are arising. You need training and support. We are the Renewed Heart NSTA Trust, committed to providing new and emerging skills training and opportunities. Come to Heart. We'll help you claim your place in the workforce of the future.
NIS pensioners, avoid the wait. Get your NIS pension straight to your bank account. It's easy. Simply visit the Ministry of Labour and Social Security's website, mlss.gov.jm, or the nearest NIS office and collect the direct deposit application form. Then complete the form and submit it along with supporting documents to the NIS office nearest you. Avoid crowds and long lines. Get your money when you want it. The National Insurance Scheme, always working for you.
From generation to generation, Jamaicans have depended on J&M Bank to make the pride and joy of providing a safe place for their families possible. Now, with no processing fees and no down payment mortgage options, you can open the door to your own sweet home, a legacy to hand to your next generation. Visit jmbank.com to get pre-approved today. J&M Bank will help you find a way.
Home is where you put down your roots. So at Sagicor Bank, we designed a mortgage with everything you need to own your home easier. Get up to 100% financing, fast processing time, up to $100,000 cash back to assist with expenses, a competitive interest rate, plus an unsecured loan of up to $2 million to go solar at home, and a special rate on home insurance. Let's help you put down your roots. Call 888-SAGICOR to apply for your Sagicor Bank mortgage. Conditions apply.
Jamaica, let's spread the word around to let the world know that we are proud to be one republic. We on the road to republic. Well then, let's propel we nation moving forward in a new direction. Show independence, that's the projection. No more dependency, it's the best plan. Yes, we know what's best for us, cause we want the country prosper us. So make we just pull together as the general public. While on the road to republic, Jamaica, let's spread the word around to let the world know that we are proud to be one republic. We on the road to republic.
A message from the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs.
We on the road to republic.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint, and in this, the second watch, We've been having a discussion on the whole matter of buying used cars, and the question is, or the statement is, will you need a lawyer in so doing? We have online Mr. Anthony Williams, attorney at law, and Mr. Andrew Jackson, CEO of JetCon Corporation. I think before the break, I had interrupted your train of thought, Mr. Williams. Please continue.
Right. So I was saying to your listeners that there's a Latin phrase called caveat emptor. It means let the buyer be aware. And so there are a number of things that buyers need to know when they're purchasing, before purchasing a motor vehicle. Now, especially if you're going to buy a used car or even a new car, you need to look at that contract, right? Or the sales contract. What are the terms? What are the conditions? Are there any warranties in the vehicle? And warranties meaning, are there any assurances given by the seller to say, for example, if you purchase the car and should it be defective, the dealer or the seller would take care of the vehicle for 2 years, 6 months. What are the warranties? Also, the motor vehicle can be the subject of a lien, and a lien mean some security that may have been imposed. Perhaps the seller had borrowed some money, and so you want to ensure that that is free of all encumbrances. Now, some persons are purchasing new cars or old cars, especially that says
Mr.
it
Williams?
is being sold as is, always where is. Yes, as is, always where is. And so you have to be careful of those terms. What do they mean? What is it? What is it that they are selling as is, always where is? All these have legal implications. Now, also, if the person is purchasing the motor vehicle on terms, meaning that they're going to pay a certain sum on a deposit and a certain sum of money per month, you need to ensure that all those terms are clarified, they are clear, and they are precise. Now, with the
Yeah, Mr. Williams, still with us? Mr. Williams?
of
Okay.
traffic, there are no. Yeah, one has to be also careful that the motor vehicle in question is not the subject of an illegal um, product. Illegal meaning it could have been a stolen vehicle, and so checks would have to be made, and the lawyer can assist in those regards. All right. So it is
Okay.
important that persons seek the assistance, of
Okay.
counsel when
M-
doing the purchase.
Yeah. Yeah. Mr. Jackson, you have been in the used car business for years. What has been your experience in terms of the input of lawyers in this regard? Mr. Jackson?
I'm sorry, what you were saying?
No, Mr. Jackson, are you hearing me? All right, not seem to be hearing Mr. Jackson. In the meantime, Mr. Williams, how do you respond to those who are saying that do you really not need a lawyer for this, or you just need to do your own research? Mr. Williams? All right, we seem to be having difficulty with both gentlemen at the moment. Listeners, we have been discussing. Yes, Mr. Williams, are you back? All right, Mr. Jackson.
I'm back.
Yeah, Mr. Williams, what's your response to those who are asking, do we really need a lawyer in this day and age to be doing all of that research? You can't just do it yourself.
Well, choices come with consequences, and persons have choices. So there's no rule, there's no law, there's no legislation, there's no regulation that says you must have a lawyer. But it is the same way when you are sick. You can also try and assist yourself. But there's good sense and logic why doctors go to school to be certified and to assist patients. So you go to the experts with the requisite knowledge, skill, and competence to assist you. So it's the same thing, right? Um,
Yeah.
Clients have choices, and they must not be penny wise and pound foolish. The lawyer is there for a reason. The lawyer has the requisite knowledge. The lawyer has the requisite skill set, and we're not saying that they profess all. It is the very reason why they went to the requisite law school to get the training to assist
Okay.
persons with
Yeah.
making very sound decisions. Hence,
Hear
the
me
reason
loud and clear. Hear me loud
several
and clear.
persons, for example, purchasing vehicles, and the seller may describe the vehicle as a 2022 vehicle, when in fact the vehicle is a
Gone again.
and
All right,
a
Mr. Jackson. Yeah, Mr. Jackson, are you with us again? Are you hearing me? Mr. Jackson. Okay. Seems to be having some technical issues. You still with us, Mr. Williams? All right. Both men were having some technical issues. Listeners, we have been talking about the buying of a used car, and we are wondering, do we need a lawyer for this? And for those who joined us recently, a short while ago, we have online or had online Mr. Andrew Jackson, CEO of JetCon Corporation, Mr. Anthony Williams, attorney at law. Who is hearing me? Mr. Jackson, are you hearing me? Mr. Williams, are you hearing me? Mr. Williams?
Yeah.
Are you hearing me, Mr. Williams?
In and out, but I'm back.
Yeah, right. And Mr. Jackson, are you hearing me?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Mr. Williams, listen to him. Yeah, right. No, I think Mr. Jackson had said earlier that this is going to create some challenges for the used car industry in terms of cost, right? Because a number of persons know, I mean, lawyers have different charges and all of that, but it's already expensive to buy a vehicle in Jamaica, depending, of course, on the nature of the vehicle. What's your response to that? Mr. Williams?
Are you directing it to me?
Yes, sir. Because Mr. Jackson is not with us.
Are
right
you
now.
directing that?
Yes, the more bit of cost. What's your response to
question for me?
Good. Mr. Jackson earlier had raised the concerns about cost and it impacting the used car industry in that way. And I'm asking you, what's your response to that concern? If you have lawyers included in the picture.
Anyway you take it, it is nowhat different from any other product. Once you have any component that involves cost, it will ultimately be passed to the consumer. So there are some companies that, based on their location, security cost is very high on their agenda. Those will have to be passed to the consumer.
Hold on, Mr. Williams. I'm so sorry. When you say consumer, Mr. Williams, you're talking about the buyer of the vehicle in this instance?
The buyer. Yes, I'm referring to the buyer in this particular instance.
So the lawyer's fee?
To the buyer. So the consumer will be the buyer.
Okay.
Yeah, the consumer will be the buyer and ultimate buyers, future buyers. Right? So it's not just the lawyer. It's not just the lawyer. It is any component that will impact the product being sold. So
yeah. Yeah, heard you. I want to just bring in Mr. Jackson. We have about a minute before we close. Mr. Jackson, your response to all of that, quickly. We're seeing you but not hearing you now, Mr. Jackson. Not hearing you at all, Mr. Jackson. All right, so we're having the technical issues, ladies and gentlemen. All right, any closing thoughts, Mr. Williams? Mr. Jackson is having some serious connectivity issues. Closing thoughts, Mr. Williams? Not here, Mr. Williams, no. Okay. All right, Mr. Jackson, we're having some connectivity issues. Okay, listeners, we're going to just wrap there because, sorry that we had to sort about our discussion on this very important matter, perhaps another time. But having said all of that, we want to thank our guests. And thank you, listeners, for being with us. Join us again tomorrow as we continue to set the stage for a discussion of topical and controversial issues. For information and how to get copies of this program, call our production department at 876-968-9596-7. This has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Kathy Gale, and our guests. I'm Dylan Toussaint. Handing you back to Love in the Morning with Jokal Dyer.
Thank you so much for listening to the Morning Watch today. We want to thank the Ministry of Labor and Social Security for sponsoring that hour from 7 to 8. It's now 8 a.m. and we are inviting you to now